Hi everyone, I'm Chef Patty and welcome to our Advent Health Cooking Demo. Today we're going to be making two really quick and easy recipes. We're going to pan-sear some salmon, make a delicious butter garlic sauce to smother all over the fish, and then I'm going to cook some quinoa. I know that sounds really simple, but I promise you I get questions on how to cook quinoa all the time, so I'm going to share some tips with you. Let's get started. All right, so for the salmon, I always like to cook my salmon with the skin on, preferably. So the first thing we want to do is we want to pat dry it with a little paper towel, just like this. You want to make sure that when you buy fish that it doesn't smell. That's a big sign that it's fresh, so we always want to buy fresh. I just dried it. I'm going to sprinkle a little salt. So fish tends to be salty, right? So we don't need to add a lot, just a little pinch of salt on one side and a little pinch of black pepper. That's all I'm doing with the salmon real quick. It's good to get into the habit of buying fresh salmon maybe once or twice a month, and then every other week you can cook some salmon. I like having quinoa in my pantry, so those two things, complete meal in no time. So I just turned on my pan. I'm gonna add a little oil, let that heat up. So I'm gonna start with the salmon. While the salmon is cooking, then I'm gonna show you how to make the quinoa. I am gonna start, I'm gonna give it another few seconds, wait for my oil to get a little hotter, but what I wanted to let you know is that I'm gonna start cooking with the skin side up, flesh side down. So a little tip that I like to share with everyone is that when I'm cooking protein, you always start with the presentation side down, because your first sear is always gonna be the prettiest one. So just remember that, keep that in mind. Presentation side always goes first. So here we go. All right, flesh side down. No, I keep saying that my camera is too far from my cooking area, so hopefully you can see that I've got the skin side up, flesh side down. That's just cooking. All I did was season it with salt and pepper. Now let's get started with the quinoa. So I have a cup of quinoa. Quinoa that I've already rinsed, by the way, so you don't want to soak your quinoa like you do with rice. You want to give it a quick rinse, that's it. And by rinsing it, you're removing some of the bitterness that's in the quinoa. So I'm putting in 1 cup of quinoa, and then I have 2 cups of broth. You can use veggie broth, chicken broth, water, any kind of liquid. But just remember, with quinoa, it's 1 part quinoa and 2 parts liquid. If you remember that, 1 and 2, you'll never go wrong. So I'm adding my liquid. I'm not gonna add any salt because I'm using chicken broth. So I'm not gonna salt it. If I was using water, if I was cooking my quinoa with water, then definitely I would add maybe a little teaspoon of salt. I have this burner here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my quinoa right here. And we're gonna let it come to a boil. The minute it comes to a boil, then I'm gonna put it on simmer, cover it, and cook it for 15 minutes, and then I'll share a few more tips with you. Letting the fish get nice and crispy on one side before I turn it. And when I make the butter garlic sauce, I am gonna cook the fish first, remove the fish, and then I add the butter to it. And the reason why is that I don't want my butter to get brown, and I want to keep this recipe as bright as possible. So I think this, let me check, needs a few more seconds. And the way that you can tell is that when you try to flip your protein, if it's stuck to the pan, that means it needs a little more time. So the cool thing about protein is that when it's nice and relaxed and ready to be turned, it lets you know. If you have to struggle with your spatula, it's not ready. So, almost there. Almost. but really easy. This makes a great lunch, great dinner. It cooks in no time. All right, now you get a towel so I can get the pan really close to the camera. Now I'm gonna flip it. You see how pretty that is? All right, we definitely need to write to Ahmed and let them know that we need to fix this. My camera needs to be right in front of my workspace. Wouldn't you agree? All right, turning it back on. Now we're gonna let the skin side down cook. I'll show you one little tip with that, and the reason why. First of all, when you cook with skin, there's more flavor in the fish. And then when you pan sear it and the skin is fully cooked, then all you have to do is you press down right before lifting the fish. You press down a little edge, a little corner of the skin. You press down, and then the skin sticks to the pan, and the fillet of fish comes right off. So you don't even have to serve it with the skin, because a lot of people don't want to see skin on their plate, right? So this is the best of both worlds. You're cooking with the skin, and you're not presenting it with the skin. Pretty cool. Win-win. All right, this needs a few more minutes. I've got some quinoa that I previously cooked. And there you go, you can see the quinoa. Here is the biggest tip that I can share with you. When I am done cooking my quinoa, I like to spread it out on a flat plate. I don't like to put the quinoa in a bowl because I feel that with the steam, it just kind of the bottom part that's sitting in the bottom part of the bowl, that quinoa is getting all mushy from the top part, right? Weighing it down. So I don't want my quinoa to get mushy. I feel like a lot of people think that that's what happens to theirs. So I like to spread it out on a flat plate and let it cool. This baby's almost done. So now I'm just gonna spread it out on a flat plate. Better ventilation. It's going to cool quicker and it won't get mushy. That's tip number one. Spread out your quinoa and no mushy quinoa. Okay guys, this baby is ready. To remove the skin. This is hot. You kind of got that edge. Okay. You got it? There. Okay. Putting the salmon on a plate without any skin. I've got the skin right here. Skin coming out. Now, I'm gonna grab some paper towel, wipe a little bit of the excess oil, because we are gonna add some butter, but we don't need extra fat. We're just going for flavor. So, wipe the oil. My quinoa is boiling, so I'm gonna put it on simmer, 15 minutes. Now we are ready for our butter garlic sauce. I've got, let me get this little crispy part out, some butter that I'm gonna melt. And I don't want this butter to turn dark. I just want like a very light, buttery sauce. Give it a little swirl. Now, the garlic, I've got some chopped garlic, about 2 cloves of garlic that I previously chopped, going in here. Let me turn this up a little bit higher, just on medium. Butter and garlic. Can you guys see? It smells so good. Now, I'm gonna squeeze half a fresh lemon, just a half, because I only have 1 fillet of fish, right? So if I had 2 fillets, maybe I would do a whole lemon. Turn this down because it's gonna steam up when I add the liquid. Want to make sure your garlic doesn't burn. Remember, garlic usually just takes 20 to 30 seconds. Squeezing in fresh lemon juice. I don't want to do this on camera, maybe. Okay. Beautiful quick sauce. You can make this not just for salmon, but if you're cooking a piece of chicken or pork chop, whatever it is that you're cooking, you can make a quick little pan sauce with some butter. I only used a tablespoon of butter, by the way, so it's not that bad. Half a lemon, some fresh garlic. Only other thing I'm gonna do now is sprinkle some parsley to our butter garlic sauce. Amazing. So good. I don't know how to do this where you guys can see all of it. Let's see. Maybe I can put this here. All right. Spooning this sauce all over. This is so good. Oh, this is amazing. I wish you guys were here to have lunch with me. Done, done, done. Oh, I gotta serve the quinoa. Serve the quinoa. But you see, we have really healthy meal. It just took a few minutes, didn't take long. Always keep quinoa in your pantry. And another thing that I love doing is that maybe on Sundays, I make a big batch of quinoa, like 2 cups, keep it in the fridge. I store it in a container, keep it in the fridge, and then I have the quinoa that keeps on giving. I have quinoa for all my lunches during the week, and I can make a grain bowl. I can like slice some avocado, maybe saute some veggies. Alrighty guys, I hope this has inspired you to cook at home. Here we go. Look at this. Isn't that yummy? Look at that salmon. We've got perfectly cooked salmon with a butter garlic sauce. We've got some perfectly cooked quinoa, and we're done. So I hope you guys loved our video. I hope you make these recipes at home. Remember, we're here to inspire you to cook easy, delicious food that's not too chefy, but totally doable at home. So I hope you guys make this. Send us a picture if you do. Shoot us any questions that you may have, and I will be back. I'll see you guys soon. Mwah. Ciao.